Hi guys, this is Chodaros, and today's tutorial will be on this really pretty bracelet that is a hook-only design created by my wonderful friend Msloom. It is called the Embedded Rosebuds, and ironically enough, I made this practice one, and then she came out with the name, so it was pretty neat that it's named that, and thought to put rosebuds in there. So the space that we're creating in this design is a rather large one, but because we use bands, it closes in, so you have a nice variety of different types of beads you can use in that place. So for example, this one here, I used 8mm beads, or I'm sorry, 6mm beads. So they just kind of nestle down in there. It's the same hole size, so you can see it's big, but you can use smaller ones. We're going to also incorporate rings, jump rings of any sort. Mine are tiny, but you have to make sure that it is big enough to put probably about 6 bands through. These are a little larger, so you can see them better, you know, in this design. On this one, they kind of fit that color scheme and bling there. If you decide to use a one-sided charm bead like this, sometimes when we put them in, they will do that. One side will be up, one side will be down. So I'm going to show you a little trick. You just want to separate it a little bit, and you just want to turn it all the way around. And it's going to turn and twist the band that your bead's on, and it just might need one little turn like that, and it will automatically make that bead stay in that spot, just like that. Okay, so I'm not going to go too fast, but I need to speed it up a bit because this is my second one I've done. My first tutorial was an hour long, and we don't want that. So I'm going to try some bead. These are the large hole spacers beads that we use. And I'm going to pair it up with some bead caps. So you just put all 3 of them on together, and this is what you get. Now they are going to slide around a little bit if you decide to do it, but that's okay because once we put the border on this design, it's going to stay put. But it just gives it a little bit of a different look. So the first step of the bracelet is to make the whole center part, which is probably about 80% of it. And so you want to make sure you have your jump rings or rings. In my case, these are just rings because they don't have a hole in them, and your bling that you're wanting to use. So we want to make our cap band. And the next band that we're going to add is going to be one that you can pick a color for if you want it to stand out. Underneath each bead, there is like this little X that we form right there, and that will be this band that we're going to pull through. Like that. So our next step is to add our jump rings to the bands. So we want to add one to each side. We've done this before, so the way I like to do it is I like to take one side off, and then I like to just come down here and stick my hook in, grab the 2 jump rings, put my other side back on. And now I want to take this right jump ring and pull it up and over the hook, like that. And then if you want, you can slide it down. I'll show you that one. Well, I'm sorry, I can't slide mine down because this part is too thick. But you can slide it down and do the same. So what I do is I just pop that jump ring up enough where I can access that band. Oops. And pull that band kind of underneath that jump ring like that. I get a good hold of both of the bands on my hook, take it off, take off that jump ring, and then stick the bands back on like that. or you can simply turn it. Okay, so it might be a good idea was to put some type of your closing clip. This is your cap band, so your C-clip or whatnot, just to make sure it doesn't move around on us. So this is where the X part comes in. We're going to take the 2 loops on our hook and cross them over each other. And you want to cross them over the exact same way each time. So the reason, or the way that I do it to remember which one I put over, is I always, over the top, the band that goes over the top is always my dominant hand. So I'm left-handed, I always take my left band, and that way when you go to do the next pattern, you'll know which one. So at this point, we want to take 2 more bands, and we want to pull a band through just one of those loops and close it up. And then we want to slide it down, making sure they stay in order. And then we want to work on this one here, doing the same thing, 1 band through and close it up. And now you can see we have our nice little X there. So now we're going to split these apart and just work in 2s. So we're going to grab yet another band, and this band is going to go through the first 2 loops, and then we're going to recapture the loop that's furthest away from our hook. Then this one here that we're holding on to, we want to take and bring that one up and over our hook like that. And then the one you're holding in this hand, we just simply place back on top and close it up. Okay, so it gives you this look here. And the thing that you want to make sure is when we're putting the jump rings on and then we're doing this step, you have to make sure that this loop here is on the inside and you have a nice flat edge. So then we just want to turn it around and do the same on the other side. Working now on these 2 loops. So we pull a band through, then we recapture this second band. The one that's on our hook we take up and over, and then we close it up. And once we have that part complete, this is what you should have. We want to separate these again, and our goal is to get our beaded band in between our 2 groups. So now we want to take our beaded band, and yes, mine are large. These are probably like what, 10 millimeter or so. But what I do is I take the first 2 loops off and still just go to the side, not up, go to the side and add it on my hook like that. And then I put it to the back because I can't make it up straight up and down, and then close it up with the other 2 loops. So once we get moving with the next step, it will open this space up and that bead will fall right where it's supposed to. So now that we have the beaded band in the center, we should have 3 loops on both sides. We want to take another band and we want to pull it through just these 3 loops like that and close it up. Okay, and now we want to turn it or push it down, and we need to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so remember your beaded band is first and then these existing 2 loops. And again, just pull a band straight through all 3 and close it up. So now that kind of opened it up a tad. That mine at least falls down into that space. Now, these end caps, they're going to be moving around. You may see if you do this hole and that. It's okay as we're doing the center, but when we secure this bracelet in by adding the border, everything will stay into place then. So once we have it like this, we're going to do another step that was similar to this one with that band on the inside. So we want to take a band and pull it through just the first 2 loops. So instead of recapturing this one back here as we did down there, this time we want to recapture the one closest to our hook, like that. And then we want to take and close it up, like that. So then we still have this band that's on our hook. And now we just want to take this band and simply push it up and over. Now this loop we want on the outside of our border of our bead. This one we did earlier, we wanted on the inside. This one will be on the outside. So remember, the outside one is at the top of your bead. Okay, so we'll flip this around and do the same on these 2 loops. Again, we capture the first part of the loop, or the first loop, and then we close it up and then take this left band up and over the hook. Okay, and that is it for the pattern. So now we want to close it up by adding the band that's going to be your X band. And this is going to get twisted down here a little. You just got to, you know, pull it back into place. So I'm using white. So when I pull that through, all 4 loops on my hook. Okay, so that is the pattern. We're going to do that. I believe I'm going to try 7 beads. And I think that might do a full wrap. So now that we have this band up here, this is the time we want to add our jump rings. So I take off my right side, I add my 2 rings, I pull this one over the hook, and then this one, I want to take it over and then just grab this loop and this one, pull everything off, and then recapture. Okay, once those are on, now we want to crisscross. Because I'm left-handed, I always use my left band over my right, so it matches below. And now we just want to add a single band to this loop here. And I used this glitter one. So just through the first loop. Close it up. And I'm just going to take mine off since it's only 3 bands. But make sure you capture all 3 back. And then we just repeat, pulling 1 band through that. Like there we go. And then we have our X. So now we want to do that step where we have to do this inside loop. I think I used white. Okay, so we're working in pairs. This band goes through these 2 loops, but we recapture the second loop away from our hook. Then we pull over this one on, over our hook. Then we close it up. That's what allows us to keep this loop on the inside. So then we just turn it around and do the same. Second loop, this one goes up and over, and then close it up. So once we have that loop on, we know it's time to add our bead. So I'm just personally going to take off my right 2 loops and then add both ends of the bead band so that it is in the center of my existing loops, like that. And now we want to take a band and just pull it through these 3 here. Okay, use silver. I need to see what colors I'm using. So then that's 3 loops over this band, and then we close it up, and then we do the same to the other side. And making sure the bands are in order on that band there. So that opens it up nicely. So now that big bead you can have right there in the center. So our next step is the one we're going to do where it's going to put this band on the outside. So again, working in groups, just go through the first 2, but this time we grab the loop closest to our hook, but then we take the right side and put it on top, and then take this little band here that's on our hook up and over, and then we turn it around, and we want to do the same thing. So we want to grab the loop closest to our hook, close it up, and then take this furthest one up and over. And once you've done that, now this is the time we close it up by adding that band that creates that X. Okay, so I'm going to allow you guys to work on your own just for time purposes. It's extremely easy for you to just rewind if you need extra help and follow the process again. And as I mentioned, I think I'm going to try to go 7 up in the design to see if that does a full wrap. You need to do as many as you can to fit your wrists or accompany your beads. Okay, so we will finish that and then we'll start on our border. All right, so I have mine complete, and we'll have those 4 bands right here. You just want to take a new band, pull it through all those 4 bands there, and then add your clip to secure it for now. Okay, my beads are hanging out, so we're going to see if the border keeps them stable. So to start the border, we need to go down to the bottom, and we want to start through the first ring. So we want to put our hook through there, and then we need to grab 2 bands, and we're going to pull 2 bands through this ring like that. And then before we close up, we need to recapture that jump ring, and then place these 2 bands back on our hook. So it's going to be a little scary there for a second. And then our next step is to get another band, and then we pull everything on top of this new band. Like that. And then our last step is to recapture only the bands. So these 2 loops, no need to capture that jump ring, recapture these, and then close it up. That's why you can tell I told you we have to have a jump ring big enough to hold enough bands. So then we want to take another band and pull everything on our hook on top like that. So that's what we'll do pretty much through every jump ring. So now you want to take it, here's the front, and you want to turn it to the side. There's 3 bands here that we're going to loop individually. The first one, you can see this 1 teardrop, the second teardrop. When it's opened up like that, you see that band inside there. We're going to put our hook in there, grab that band. So that's 3 loops on our hook. And you want to take another band and you want to pull it through the first 2 like that. And then the one we didn't grab back here, we just want to simply take that one and pull that one up and over like so. Okay, now the next band that we want to grab, and it's always the second one, is our band that has the bead on it. So you can see on mine, there's the band that has the bead. If you go inside this teardrop, it's right there. So I'm just going to put that on my hook. I'm going to pull, I can check, yep, that's the right one. And then we're going to do the same exact thing again. Pull a band through. It's a different color. Pull a band through the first 2 loops. Close it up. And this one back here we take up and over like that. And the last band we're going to grab is this one that we looped on the outside. That one right there. So just do the same. Band goes through the first 2. Close it up, and then this one comes up and over. So that's what you should have. Like that. And that is how we do every one of them. So we only grab the first jump ring, and then we just loomed around the pattern, and now we're ready to grab our next jump ring. So you're always going to have 2 loops on your hook, and we just put our hook through that next jump ring in line. And then again, we want to grab 2 bands, and we want to pull it through that jump ring, and also pull it through the 2 existing loops on our hook. Okay? So from here on out, we don't want to recapture these 2 bands. We leave them there, but we recapture our jump ring as well as these 2 bands we're holding in our hand. Like that. And then we want to repeat as we did before, and then pull a new band, and then everything on our hook goes on top of the new band. Like that. And then we want to recapture these 2 loops in the front, skip over the ring, and recapture the second set of loops. Close it up. Okay, so it's like that every time from here on out, and then we just take another band and pull everything on our hook on top. And that's how we can start looping our pattern. So then again on the side, we start with that first one sticking out there. Put your hook in. I think I was using these. And just through the first 2 loops. Close it up. Last band comes on over. The next one is always the beaded band. So you want to make sure you're always staying in the side when you're grabbing, so you're going through the teardrops. Oopsie. Then I kind of give it a tug to make sure it's the right one. First 2 loops, back one comes up and over, and the last one we grab is the one that's hanging out. And first 2 loops, and the last one comes up and over. Okay, I'm going to show you one last time. So we go through that next jump ring in line. Make sure that this is the right way. Okay, so then we grab our 2 bands, pull them through the jump ring and the 2 loops, and then recapture. Twisted bands. Recapture the jump ring and then those 2 loops. Pull a new band through everything. Like that. And recapture all the loops and leave the jump ring. Close it up. Or straighten out your bands. And then pull one other band through everything. Alright, so then we turn it to the side, and the first one there that's sticking out in the center we pull out. And then we pull band through the first two, and back one comes over. Next one is our beaded band. First two, and pull this one up and over. The last one is the one that's hanging out of our bracelet. First two, up and over. Okay, so it gets pretty simple after you get the hang of it, and you can see, like I can already tell, this is all nice and loom tight, and it's holding my bead on this side nice and snug. Alright, so I am just going to make a slip knot here, and then go ahead and show you how we're going to do the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this like this. So then we're going to loom it from the top down. Make sure it's not crooked. Alright, so then at the top here, put your hook in that jump ring, and then we're going to do the same exact. I like to put mine on the side like this. I think it's easier for filming, but take your two bands, pull them through. Say, I have to make it on this side or I won't be able to loom it. And then we recapture that jump ring, and then these two bands. And then grab another, pull everything through, and then recapture only the 4 loops, close it up. And then lastly, another band to capture everything. Alright, so we go onto that side and look for the bands we used before. This first one right here, and then the next one. See, I was looking, but that's too far down, that's why. Okay, so we go in here and grab that one, and then we pull it over the first 2 loops, and then this last one comes over the top. And then the second one is always your beaded band. So you got to remember too, this side's a little tighter because we've already loomed the other side. Just kind of wondering. So again, just the first 2, and then pull over the back. And then the last one, which this one's hanging a little bit low, it's supposed to be up like that, is that band hanging out. And then pull this one over. And now that one will complete pretty much until we do this, the first pattern. Okay, so then again we just go into that spring, and then we need to pull 2 bands through. Sorry, I had to move location and it's beads hitting off my desk. So that goes through the jump ring and then the existing 2 loops. And then we go back through the jump ring and those 2 bands. And then pull everything up of another band. And then recapture your loops. And then one last band for this part. All right. Now, just like before, see, this is sticking out, just even it. Okay, so we go onto the side, look for the bands right there. First 2 loops. Next one is the beaded band. If you can hear any loud booms, it is the 4th of July and fireworks are going off. And last is this one hanging out. And then pull this one over. And that will conclude our second. Which actually it's technically that way. So that is what yours should start looking like. I'm going to do one more with you and then we'll finish them on our own. So again, back through that jump ring. Grab your 2 bands. And I think I lost a band. Sorry about that. Is that right? Alright, so let's try that one more time. Through the jump ring and those 2 bands. Reclaim the jump ring and the last 2 loops. And then pull everything onto a new band. And then just recapture the 4 loops. There we go. All right, and then we'll look on the side. I didn't use the same colors for every one, I can tell, because this one is usually white. That's okay. Oops. Goodness. You have to pull everything through, right? Hopefully you did. Now I can pull through this loop. First 2. And then the next one is our beaded band one. And our last is this one here. And there you have it. That's our 3rd. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish up both sides of the border, and we will meet back at the end to close it up together. Okay, I am at the end of my bracelet. So the last loop is that one that hangs over the edge, so I just have to throw one more band through there, and then the last, pull the last one over, and then we just want to put our hook through this band on that clip, and then these two go over top, and then I can put it back on for now, and then grab my C-clip. But that is it. So I just kind of untighten, I guess you could say, but it's completely unnecessary to do anything after this point. Unless you need to untwist some bands. Like this one's a little loose, so I'll pull that over. So, Embedded Rosebuds by Msloom. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope that your rendition came out as beautiful as I feel mine has. So, I don't think that the back, I don't believe there's a back or front. I think they're both the same. So if you do have an Instagram account, please make sure that you do tag us and show us your beautiful work. Love to see the different colors, bead and band combos. Okay, so thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm back from all my vacations and you're going to see a lot more. Take care now. Bye-bye.